Welcome to another episode of Do You Really Know God? This week we're going to cover the subject of what it means to honor your mother and father.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off with John 8:24. Unless you believe that I am who I claim to be, you will die in your sins. I think that's a good one for today because my version of what they mean by, there's different ways of thinking of how honoring your mother and your father is to be looked.
Right, that goes with everything in the Bible. A lot of people, I've had people say, no, it says this, so it means this. But what people don't realize is the Bible is three-dimensional, not two-dimensional.
Yes, and one of the things that honor your mother and honor your father, my aspect is another way of looking of honoring God.
Yeah.
God is the ultimate father of all of us.
Yeah, I completely agree. But if I'm not mistaken, it's the 5th commandment, right?
Yes, it is the 5th. But they also talk about honoring your actual physical human parents.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a bunch of different stuff that can go along with that.
Right.
There's so many stipulations, and we were talking about it last night. What if you have bad parents?
Yeah. Well, what really brought this idea to me was an article popped up that was basically about what it means to honor your parents, and they posed that question. And I remember before we read it, we were debating it, what if your parents abused you, or maybe your parents were on drugs, or whatever it means.
Well, here's the one thing that I will say, because God is very specific on a lot of his sayings.
Yeah.
And what he's saying is, in fact of that, what I feel he's saying and how it's prescribed to me in the Bible with not just honoring your parents, but how he says honor your government and honor this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And he even talks about, government. He doesn't talk about bad parenting, but he talks about bad government. That you should still honor them and rule them. They still are your leader.
Yeah.
But honoring them and, I guess how would I put this?
Submitting to them?
Yes. Honoring and submitting to them are two different things.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a bad parent, you should still honor them. They are still your parents.
Yeah, they still brought you into this
Does
world.
not mean you should if they're bringing you away from God or anything like that, does not mean you have to follow them.
Right.
But you have to honor and respect their authority. As Carmen on South Park always says, their authority. You gotta respect who they are. You don't have to respect what they do.
Right.
And you don't have to honor what they do, and you don't have to be even happy with what they do. But you have to honor the fact that they are your parents.
Well, I know I mentioned this in the podcast before, but I think it's a great example of, have you ever seen Band of Brothers?
Yes.
There's a part where one sergeant, at first a lieutenant does something that a sergeant sees, messed up. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he basically made a call that messed up and even killed some people.
Yeah.
And they were back at the camp, and this one sergeant who tried to tell him don't do it this way was walking past, and he was with a group of soldiers, and they all saluted him, and they're like, all that type of stuff, and this sergeant refused to salute him. And the captain knew that he messed up, that he made a bad call, and that the sergeant was upset with him. And he looked at him, I can't remember his name, but he said, "Sergeant." He says, "Yes, Lieutenant." And he goes, "You don't salute the man, you salute the rank."
100%.
Which, we use that term a lot in the military, at least the Army.
Yeah.
Basically saying that it doesn't matter what you think of this person as as a human being, it don't matter what you think morally about them. It matters that they are still above you.
Yeah, and as far as rank. And I think with honoring your parents, they are still your parents. Don't mean you have to agree with everything they do.
Right.
Don't mean you have to condone everything they do.
Right.
But you still have to respect them for the title of being your parent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to God, I think a lot of this saying that he's going toward God because he is the Father. He is the main Father of all human creation.
Yes.
And we need to respect him as for his title and give him his salute for his title. And what we're going to do is believe in him. As the phrase I said is, you need to believe in him, even though you can't see him all the time. You need to believe in him, or suffer the consequences at the end.
Yeah.
Everything has a consequence. Like I always said, it's always a cause and effect.
Well, it's also more than just believing in him, though. Because, demons believe in God.
Yeah.
They just don't respect him.
Exactly.
And I think that's what that commandment kind of boils down to, is believing versus... Well, believing's a big part.
Yeah.
Because you can't respect his rules if you don't believe in him.
Yes.
Right? So, but you have to believe in him, and then from there, you have to follow his rules.
Yes.
Like, do not murder. It is a big one, obviously. But, like, all the small things, like, don't commit adultery.
Don't lie.
Yeah.
Don't thieve.
Right.
Don't be lazy. Being lazy, which is a big sin.
I think they call it sloth in the
yes,
Bible
sloth.
or something.
Yep. So, let's talk about, like, your parents, honoring your parents.
Physical parents.
Physical parents. There is so much, there is, with this day and age, there is a lot of respect issues going on in the world.
Definitely.
And you see it a lot with the young people, younger generation. They don't respect the older generation at all, and they disrespect them. When I was a kid, there was never a day that I would have even thought about swearing at somebody or my elder.
Yeah.
There would never be a day that I would ever think about back talking my elder.
Yeah.
Because if I did, I got smacked into next year. Nowadays, all the kids don't know respect. Like, they don't understand that and give their elders respect of the things that they've been through.
Yeah.
And I see it here, even at the shop with younger techs. I'll try and tell them, hey, that ain't going to work. And they'll sit there and they'll, yeah, okay. And they'll try it their way, and then it don't work. And they're like, hey, boss, that didn't work. No kidding. I told you it wasn't going to work.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a respect thing as far as speaking from a younger person's point of view. It's more of a God complex type
thing.
You
think you all know. Think you have the answers and you don't. But a lot of it has to do with respect. Because when I was younger, it didn't matter if you knew the elder person or not. You respected them just because of their senior.
Oh, yeah.
And honoring your parents is kind of somewhat like that. They are your senior, but they're not only that, they're your parents. You need to respect them.
Yeah.
And whether or not you agree with them, it is easier to respect them and obey and just do what you're supposed to do than to sit there and fight them and argue with them.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's your parents.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, too, when they're coming down in the Bible, if you can't respect your parents, especially if you got good parents, if you can't respect your parents, you can't respect God.
If you can't respect your parents, you probably can't respect anyone.
Exactly. Which is going to make a lot of stuff difficult in life.
Yeah.
And like I've always said in a lot of different things that I think I've said in the podcast before, I feared nothing on this earth. There is nothing on this earth other than a spider video we watched today.
I was just going to say that.
I fear nothing on this earth. There is not a thing on this earth I'm afraid of because I'm not afraid to die.
Yeah.
The only thing in life I fear is God himself. Because God is the only thing that can really truly take my life. Because if I die, my body dies, my vessel dies, but my soul goes on in heaven. But if you disrespect God, He can take that soul away from you. So you have nothing but lights out.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but my mind cannot comprehend nothingness.
You know, if you truly die after you leave this earth, meaning your soul gets condemned to hell, not only are you just gonna be done nothing, but you're gonna survive years and decades and centuries of torture before it just goes out.
Yeah, before nothingness.
Yeah.
So I don't know about any of you guys. I don't want to do that.
I'd rather not poke that bear.
No, that's funny because we just used that phrase the other day. Me and Chris.
Oh yeah.
About somebody poking a bear.
Huh.
Long story short, but it's funny because there are some things like you just don't provoke and you don't poke.
Yeah, I mean it's like the old saying: you don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah.
It's, you know, sure you may still win, even though with God you're not going to. But you know,
not gonna win.
Right? You may still feel like you got the upper hand, but at the end of the day,
you lost.
Yeah.
In the end, you're gonna lose, and the same thing goes for your parents. Whether you have good parents or bad parents, I mean, I feel bad. There are some really bad parents out there, and I do know that. I do understand that. You just hope for the system to work, and you hope for God to come in to get you out of that.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, they're still your parents. They're the ones who brought you into this world.
Mm.
So as far as giving them respect, even though they're bad people, at least showing them respect, you're making yourself a better person. One, you're making yourself a better person in God's eyes.
Yeah.
You're making yourself a better person in society's eyes. Because I don't know about you, but I see a kid that's having a rough home life, and yet they still go out in the public and respect other people and still polite and kind.
Oh yeah.
I have more respect for them than anything.
Oh yeah.
Because I would fully understand if they're rebellious because of their home life. But them being respectful, that's an A1 in my book.
Right. No, I completely agree. And it's actually a very common trope in movies and stuff like that. Like the first one that comes to my head, which probably isn't the most common one, but Matt Saracen from Friday Night Lights.
Yep.
The quarterback. He's his dad's fighting in Afghanistan, and his dad rather be fighting in Afghanistan than back at home, and he has to take care of his grandmother who has dementia. He's only a sophomore. He has to work and provide for all the bills, and his mom left him when he was young, and so like he has all these issues. But when you see him talking to Coach Taylor, when you see him talking to really anybody in the show, he's always polite, respectful, humble, everything.
Yes.
But at the same point, which I want to make sure the viewers hear, is if you do have that rough home life, if you do have whatever issues, you still, you can't just deal with it. One of the things that, you know, I've personally learned over the years is if you don't talk about things, if you don't express things, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
Until that one time where you blow up. So even if you do have that kind of home life, or just, you know, even just in general, a lot of stress, a lot of anger, whatever it is, make sure you do go to someone, even if it's God. Make sure you go to someone.
I got Bible verse for you for that. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the convictions of things not seen. And that basically says the same thing. I mean, we got to have faith.
Yeah.
Without faith, we have nothing.
Right.
And one thing is my God and our God and your God and God in general. He's the most forgiving God out there. But one thing he does not like is disrespect, and he likes to be everybody's number one.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the true meaning of God's order of business, God is one.
Yeah.
Like in your family, like everybody thinks, oh my kids are my everything. My kids are number one, or my wife is number one, or my husband, or whatever. No, the actual order how it's supposed to go in God's world, God is number one.
Yeah.
Your spouse is number two.
Yeah.
And your kids are number three. And then your extended family from there is number 4, 5, 6, and down.
Yeah.
So people say, oh, my kids are my one and only thing. No, it shouldn't be that way.
No.
God should be your one and only thing. That God is the one thing that should be number one. And the reason why they say your spouse should be number two is because you picked your spouse.
Yeah.
So if you picked your spouse, they should be your number two.
Yeah.
And then your kids, I mean, you didn't get to pick your kids, but you had them. So they should be your number three.
Right. And, you know, one thing as far as honoring your parents and everything, back a little bit on the rough home life, even if you did have that type of, or maybe you were put in the foster system or whatever it is, and, you know, your parents weren't fit to be parents, whatever your case is, if you do have a case of bad parents, a way of honoring them is to not let it affect you and to still be a good person.
Yeah. And that don't just honor them, that kind of brings out the light on them.
Yeah.
Most people, by studying people, like if they're bad people and they pretty much know that they're not great people.
Yeah.
On most part. And if their kids turn out to be good kids and all this and respectful kids, it just makes them look that much worse. Overall.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And like they say, you don't always have to fight a battle with anger or fight. Sometimes the best way to fight a battle is with happiness.
Yeah.
And respect.
Yeah.
And you don't know how many times where people will like try to get under your skin and try and make you angry and do what they can to discredit you or whatever.
And affect you.
And if they see there's no effect on you, that you're still your happy-go-lucky self, you defeated them. They get defeated on their own. So you did nothing when they defeated themselves.
Yeah.
And actually, it makes them actually feel worse for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's the ultimate victory without throwing any punches.
No, I definitely agree.
And that works with the parents, too. Yeah, 100% works with the parents, too, because if they see, like most bad parents who are abusive or whatever, they're looking for, they're looking to break you down. I guess is the word I'm looking for. They're looking to break you down, break your spirit, break your soul.
Yeah.
And if you just show respect for them, but I'm saying show respect, but don't show mercy, and don't let them break your soul, don't let them break your spirit, you win. You won. They're gonna break their spirit instead, and you can still honor them. You can still respect them. Because bottom line, your parents did bring you into this world.
Yeah.
Without them, you'd have no life.
Yeah.
So that in itself, you owe them respect for. Whether you think you want to be life, like I've heard people, oh, I wish I was never born. You don't wish that, because I'm telling you. You're getting that experience of a lifetime, and if you do things right and you follow the word of God, and you do what God says, your afterlife is going to be well worth it, and the payoff is going to be sevenfold.
Well, I also noticed that people nowadays are a lot more pessimistic. You know, like a lot of people focus on the negative rather than the positive.
Yeah.
And that isn't a way you honor God, because yeah, your parents gave you life, but so didn't God. Yeah. And for you to sit there and think, oh, I wish I was never born, or, you know, things of that nature, it's kind of a slap in the face of God, too.
It is.
He's saying, I gave you this beautiful gift to go on Earth, meet all these people, have all these experiences, and you never wanted. You're saying you never wanted it.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
But when you talk about pessimists, the best one I seen was you got a pessimist just standing at a tunnel saying it's nothing but a black hole. You got an optimist standing at the same tunnel saying, hey, I see a light at the end of the tunnel. You got the realist who's saying, hey, that's a train coming. Then you got the train conductor saying, look at these three idiots standing on the track.
That's good.
That is. So, the thing is there's a reason for us to have a life.
Yeah.
God has a reason to give us life. It's an experience to give us and get us to heaven after life.
Yeah.
Life was actually planned. God planned on life to be a perfect thing. Obviously, Adam and Eve kind of messed that up, and things got a little sideways, and then the devil got involved, and he messed stuff up, and some things just got messed up in the whole plan to work. But bottom line is still an experience that we all kind of need, because think about it. If you did not go through life, how can you be a perfect angel? If you don't experience the bad, how can you be good?
Well, you know, that's one thing I heard, I can't remember who said it, but I heard someone say it at some point. I don't remember if it was in real life or a movie or whatever. But, yeah, I've heard that. I heard that back a while, and it stuck with me. Is everyone wishes for peace and all this never sadness and all that. But if you didn't have the sad, how would you know what's good?
Yeah, how would you know what's happy?
Yeah.
Just like they say, like everybody's like, and I'm guilty of this. Like I love the song "Tin Man" by Kenny Chesney. It talks about I wish I was like the Tin Man. I had no heart, so it could never be broken.
I don't think I've ever heard that one.
It's an awesome song. And I love it. And there's been times in my life where I wish I was the Tin Man. I had no heart. Because then there's no heartache, so there's no pain.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you have no heartache and no pain, how do you have love?
Exactly.
You can't love without pain. And
that's
everything in life, we're going to go back to the same. There's a cause and effect.
Yeah. I mean, everything is yin and yang. You know, everything has contrast. Everything, for every little light spot, you're going to have a little dark spot. For every rain, there's going to be a rainbow. That's just the fact of life.
Yeah.
But in cause and effect, I really honestly believe is one of the most important lessons we can learn as humans and as Christians as well. Because, I mean, I guess you could look at it as the Bible is pretty much just one huge story about cause and effect.
And you got to think about it. God is if you think about the whole meaning of life, I think what God's doing to create the meaning of life and having us go through life and all this.
Yeah.
He's trying to build a perfect army of angels. So you think about it. You don't build a perfect army of anything without seeing the good and bad in things.
Yeah.
With everything. Like they say, you can't have good without evil and can't have evil without good.
Yeah.
So, if you can't experience the good and bad of everything, how could you possibly enjoy the other half of anything? You think about it. And you can think of it, not to be a perv or nothing, you can think of it as when you're growing up, as your kid. Your hormones start going when you're a teenager. But, yeah, you want to have sex and you have the hormones and the urge to have sex. But if you never had it, you don't know what it feels like. So it's livable. You can go every day without, you know? Once you get to have sex as an adult, now, if you have it all the time or what you want to have it, the urges are a lot stronger than when you're a teenager. Because now you know what you're missing. When you were a teenager, you had the urge for it, but you didn't know what you was missing.
Yeah.
And same as, can put it the same as, like, I love the Amish people. I love Amish. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, how can they live like that? How can they live without this and without that? Because they never had it, so they don't know what it's like to have it. Think about it. How can you miss something you don't know? And
well, that's not true for all of them. Because, you know, they have their
little going
teenage
out.
years or whatever.
But, I mean, on the most part, they don't know what it's like to have it.
No, I completely agree.
It's kind of like, well, a perfect example is, like, I think, like, if there ever comes a point where, think about it, we're so dependent on electricity, we're so dependent on cell phones and video games and everything else,
yeah,
that if by chance the power ever went out in the country forever, people would go insane. People would actually wind up killing each other, committing suicide, all.
We'd be like Mad Max.
Mad chaos, other than the Amish. Amish wouldn't even notice the difference. They don't care.
Right.
Where we would be done as a society on most part. Because we've had it, so we're spoiled to it.
Yeah.
So...
well, I mean, if... here's the difference, is like... let's say you have whatever your favorite snack is, you know? Or, you know, like Dad.
Swiss rolls.
Yeah, Dad likes Swiss rolls. So... if Dad goes up to somebody who's never had a Swiss roll before, and he says, here, have this.
It's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. And they walk away, and they don't have it.
They don't know what to miss.
Exactly. They don't
crave it.
They're not going to regret it as much as someone who also likes Swiss rolls.
And then can't get it.
Exactly.
So, I think a lot of that is where it comes down to respect is, I also think, like, I don't think our souls that are in our body started with us. Like, I don't think, like, our souls were born with us. I think our souls were out there. And God put it in our bodies while we're born.
I can agree with that. And I'm personally a strong believer in the past life.
Past life, but I think our souls have been around. I don't think it's something like, you're born created and God creates a new soul for every person that's born.
Yeah.
I think these are old souls that he just put in, and he's trying to get us the experience to build a perfect army. And it's almost like what Hitler tried to do in Germany. He wanted to build a perfect soldier. And he wanted, like, you had to be 6'2", blonde hair, blue eyes, perfect. Like, what he had in his mind is the perfect human being. And it's not like that. God is trying to make the perfect angels, and only way to make the perfect angels is to make you live through certain stuff. See, you got to see the good with the bad and the bad with the good.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong believer, like, he puts us in all our situations that we're in to teach that soul what it was missing before. And like they say, like, some kids have bad parenting. Well, maybe that soul... not you, but your soul needed that experience to become a good angel.
I agree with that. I personally believe that when your soul is created, your soul is given a purpose. Like, the way I like to think about it is God's up there with his own Build-A-Bear.
Yeah.
And he's going through, and he doesn't make a body, he just makes a soul. I don't know anyone watching has seen this, but I've seen a bunch of the videos where they say God making this celebrity. So, like, there was one on Juice WRLD that I saw. And it's literally just this guy standing there with a bowl in front of him, and he has water bottles. And so he'll flash a word on the screen, so, like, we'll say talent, and then he'll dump some water in there. If they have a lot of talent, he'll take out, like, a milk jug and just dump the whole thing in. Or if, if they have a little bit of something,
they'll give you a cap.
Yeah, they'll give you a small little thing. And it's like he's making a recipe for a soul. But I think that's genuine. I don't think it's exactly like that, but I think that's the idea of it is God goes, he has all these things out in front of him that he can put into the soul. He makes the soul, and then he releases the soul out.
And everything in our life is built for us. We all have a meaning and a purpose in life. And we just got to find the meaning and purpose.
Yeah.
And part of that meaning and purpose is your upbringing and your background.
Yeah.
And, like, perfect example, the best people to actually go around and help addicts is a recovered addict.
Yeah.
They went through it. They experienced it. They went through it. They are the best people to teach addicts how to heal.
Well, I think that's why, kind of helping your theory for the perfect angels.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason, the Alabama song, I believe there are angels among us.
Yes.
I believe that there are certain people out there that go through certain situations. That way they can be the guardian angel for someone.
Yeah. In
the future, or, when they pass on.
Yeah. And it goes too with the, like, I know a counselor, I can't remember his name, but he had I read about him, he had a very rough upbringing. I mean, his mother was a hooker and a drug addict, had people coming in the house.
Wasn't that Dr. Phil?
Huh?
Wasn't that Dr. Phil?
I don't remember. But they had, I don't think so, because the person I'm talking about is a child care thing. But,
Dr. Phil had the same situation.
But they had a very rough childhood. Their mother was a hooker and a lot of drugs, and they were actually abused and everything else as a kid, not only just by being beaten, but they were molested very badly as a kid. They wound up growing up to be a child psychologist. Yeah. And they actually, I wish I remember who it was. I remember reading about it. What they did is they opened their own thing to help children with abuse in foster kid situations and in regular homes. And they actually wound up going out and doing a mission where they're going to inner cities and helping just inner city kids. And it is known that they've done the most good for the mental stability of abused kids. And they actually have a whole foundation now on helping abused kids. And there's certain things that we are set for in life. And sometimes our upbringing, like having a bad childhood like that might be God setting you up for the good that you're going to do as an adult.
Right. And
it's just what path you're going to take.
But in that, that's why we have to honor him.
You got to honor him, and you got to trust him because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's also the reason why I say you got to honor your parents. And I think the reason why the Bible says you got to honor your parents. Because here's the deal. If it wasn't for this guy's upbringing, he would have never been what he is today.
Exactly.
Which he's doing so much good. Yeah, is it kind of sad and is it rough that we have to go through that to get to here? It is, but the thing is God has a plan, and the thing is we got to follow his plan. Obviously, sometimes there's the backfire on plans. There's the kids that go the opposite way. They wind up becoming the murderers and the serial killers. And I think it all stems down to they didn't honor their parents. And because they didn't honor their parents, they went down the wrong path. They didn't see the path that God was setting for them. Yeah. Where if they honored the parents, they would have seen the path clear as day to where God was sending them.
Well, one thing we as humans do is we find something we like or we find something we want to do. And we kind of like put on those blinders and like, hey, this is where I think God is calling me, or this is what I want to do. So I'm going this way and that's it. But the thing, and if you haven't learned this about God yet, you definitely will. God likes to take the scenic route. He likes to take the way that works best for him. And he works on his time. So yeah, it's great if you think he's calling you to be a doctor. and you feel that since you're a senior in high school and you go to pursue a medical degree right out of the gate, he may not have you do that right out of the gate. He may, in his plans, have you take a couple years off of college and go and, help people in Africa with malaria, or, they may have you do a bunch of different. He may have you do a bunch of different obstacles before you get to your main goal.
Well, you gotta look at the way that he has the plan, and it's not always a clear path.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a little curvy road, a couple of hooks in it, a couple of hiccups, a couple of potholes. But there is a path, and it all comes down to a couple basic things. One, you gotta honor. You gotta honor your parents. You gotta honor God. You gotta honor your seniors.
Yeah.
And basically, you gotta keep your eyes open. What you should do is you gotta look at every situation as, what's the lesson in this? You gotta think about it. Everything that we do is a lesson.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, there's a lesson behind it.
Yeah.
Like they say, the best thing I've ever learned was on my failure. If you do anything, anybody who knows business, you don't get successful in business by succeeding and being great all the time. You get great in business by failing.
Yeah.
Because you learn from your failures. And Thomas Edison said it best. Thomas Edison said, I did great things by failing 10,000 times.
Well, I don't remember who said it, but I was helping Abby with English homework a couple weeks ago, and she was reading this quote, and she had to say what it meant to her. And the quote was, a man isn't judged by success is not based on how many times you succeed. Success is based on how many times you fail and get back up.
Yeah.
And just like, what was it that Rocky said? He said it's not about if you get knocked down.
It's about how many times you get back up.
Uh-huh.
And that's everything on life, and that's everything, including with the Bible, because as a Christian, trust me, everything we're Christian, we get knocked down every single day. Everything you do, we're being knocked on. People are attacking Christians left, right, upside down, and everything, in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
It's not about your triumphs. It's about how you got back up when you got knocked down. You gotta focus on what the end plan is, and I'm gonna talk a little bit like in the business sense. Is like when you open a business, everybody's like, biggest thing that when you open a business, you gotta have a game plan.
Yeah.
You gotta have a one month game plan. You gotta have a 5-month game plan. You gotta have a 1 year, 3 year, and a 5 year game plan.
Yeah.
And the point of doing that is to have a goal and an objective. Are you gonna hit every single mark 100% where you want to be? No. Sometimes you're gonna be above it. Sometimes you're gonna fail it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if you have a game plan for the end thing, like God has a game plan for each one of us for an end result. When we don't hit the mark, at least if we have a plan, we know where we have to, what we have to do to get back up and get to it.
Yeah.
And Jeff Olson, if you ever heard of him, he's a writer. Wrote a book called The Slight Edge, which I think is a very good book. Not just in business, it's in life. And I think a lot of it, I mean, it's not like a Christian book or nothing, but you can use it as like a God's plan, because he has a plan for everything. And in there, he has this one thing. He says you got 2 rats that are stuck in a bucket of milk, okay? The first rat, he sits there and he tries to jump out, but the sides are too slippery, so he can't catch grip, and he can't jump because he's in the milk up over his waist, and so he can't get the lift to get the jump.
Yeah.
So he tries and tries and tries and tries and tries, and he can't get out. So finally he says, okay, I give up. So he basically just gives up, sits down, and dies.
Mm.
When the other mouse turns around and says, heck with this, he starts swimming in the circle real fast. He's swimming, he's swimming, he's swimming, and he swims for more than a day. All of a sudden, the milk starts getting harder and harder as he swims. He's feeling the milk get harder, so he keeps swimming, keeps swimming. Milk's getting real hard now. Now the milk turns into butter. What is butter? A salad. He turns the milk into butter. Now he's on top of the butter, and he can jump out of the bucket, and he got free. It's all on how you do it in life. When you look at an obstacle, and this is as a Christian, as a human, as a spirit, if you look at an obstacle and say, hey, I'm beat down, I'm done. I'm going to sit down and just let life overtake me.
Yeah.
You lost. What you got to do is you got to keep striving. And yeah, we're not perfect. I'm not far from a perfect Christian. Devin's far from perfect Christian. I don't care what kind of pastor you are, pope, priest. You're not perfect. You're not a perfect Christian. You're not a perfect Catholic. You're not a perfect follower of the Bible. We all sin. God knows we sin. That's why he gave us Jesus Christ, his only son, to die for our sins so we can still go to heaven with our sins.
Yeah.
The point of the whole moral of the story is throughout the whole process you've got to honor people. And you've got to start with honoring God first. Because God is the one who gave us everything we got to succeed, and he gives us everything we need to succeed, and he's there to help us succeed. Second is your parents. No matter how good or bad your parents are, you got to honor your parents. You got to understand that, one, they brought you into this world. They gave you this life. Whether they're good people or bad people, they're the ones who gave you the life. You don't have to follow them. You don't have to believe in all their beliefs, but in the end, you gotta at least honor them and respect them as your parents.
Yeah.
And I think the third is you gotta respect your elders and honor your elders, because bottom line is, I don't care how much you read and you do, you will never get the right information, as much information as you can from somebody who actually lived it.
Yeah, and you know, your elders don't just mean your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, and all that. It means that old lady at the supermarket.
Or a coworker.
Yeah.
Or anybody around there, because you got to think about it. And I can honestly say, a lot of me being always a mechanic, there's been many times when I run into a situation where I didn't have the answer to. But you know what? One of the older guys that's been around in the shop says, hey, try this. And I'd be like, huh? That ain't going to work.
No, that's that guy.
No, I'm not good. I'd be like, that ain't going to work. And they're like, just shut up and try it. And I try it, and all of a sudden, oh, it worked. Holy cow. What a miracle.
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it? So, that's with life, too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us, like with life itself, what better way to learn about like relationship, love, life, success, than from an old couple that's been through it all?
Yeah.
You know, I'm all for, you know what, you see an older person around, strike up a conversation. You'd be amazed of the knowledge you'll get out of these people.
Oh, yeah. I remember one time I was taking a customer home, and what was it he was leaving here? Oh, he was leaving a Mercedes here, and I had to take him up the street back to his house. And I got talking to him. Well, he was a tanker from, I can't remember if it was Vietnam or World War II. But he was a tanker, and as you guys know, I'm a tanker in the National Guard.
Uh-huh.
And he was sitting there and he was telling me all these stories about stuff he did and all this type of thing. And I genuinely had a good conversation, good time talking to him.
And you'll learn so much.
Yeah.
I can honestly say, like, I talked to just about anybody, but I am that way. But I remember talking to, like, so many people. Like, I've done like some of the multi-level marketing.
Yeah.
Everybody calls it the pyramid schemes or whatever, but I made money over the years doing some multi-level marketing. But more than the money, the people I've met and the stories I learned over the years doing it is more valuable and priceless than any amount of dollar amount you could have made out of these companies.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Olson, I can honestly say he's the owner of Narium, and he wrote the book, The Slight Edge. I would have never even heard of that book if I didn't join Narium. And out of the books I've read and I'm a bookworm. I love reading. No, next to Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, The Slight Edge is the second best book I've ever read in my life, and it's given me probably the most useful information, not just in business but in life itself, because it talks all about the slight edge.
Yeah.
Here's the problem: we go through life, we think we're driving on a straight line, but really it's a little bit curves, and you don't realize it, but you could be taking a slight edge positive or a slight edge negative, but it's happening so gradually you don't realize it.
Yeah.
By the time you realize it, it's too
late.
late. You're way off course, and sorry, you already crash landed and hit the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
Where it teaches you how to make a goal, make a plan, so when you start going off that edge, you can recognize it.
Yeah.
And like I told you with the story with the mice, also you got the story with, and this is an old one. This one, actually, people have been talking about this one long before Jeff Olson, but he used the reference in his book. I don't even know who came up with the saying, but it's truth. If somebody came up to you and said, I can give you either $1 million today cash, or I can give you a penny a day, doubled every day for the next 30 days, which would you rather have? Most people will ask for the $1 million today, because in society we want instant success. We want instant gratification. We want life to be like a light switch, and it's not. When the smart person will take the penny a day, double the day over the course of 30 days, because that comes up to over $11 million. So if you're patient for 30 days, just 30 days in 1 month, you get 11 million rather than 1 million. And the gratification, it takes over time. Everything with life is like that. God did the same. Actually, Jesus talked the same parable about the father with the son.
Yeah.
He gave the one son his inheritance while he's still alive, and he gave it to him all at once. And that one son went out and blew it, and within 2 years was broke again. Why the other son said, "No, Dad, I don't want it now. I'll take it when you die." And he lived life with the father, a good life.
Yeah.
So he still had a life. Where the other son wound up broken, and the father's not even dead yet, and he's already done for.
Yeah.
Everything in life is a lesson. And it all starts with how we honor people. Honor and respect is the first and foremost thing for each and everything. Oh.
Yeah, definitely.
We all get a lesson from it all.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
There is just so much to
so honoring
your
parents
and getting to where you need to be.
Yeah.
I got another. Hold on a minute. Trying to get it back up.
Okay. Well, while you do that, I'll because it's getting to be about that time.
I had another quote, but where did it go?
I think for my comment section this time is I want to know a way you believe you've honored God or honored your parents.
That's a good one. I like that. I do like that one. Let me find this. Hold on. I should have saved it. I didn't.
But yeah, that's what I want to know, and I also want to know. I also want to know what you guys think of this kind of podcast, and if you'd be interested in us putting it out on other platforms like Spotify and things like that.
Yeah. I'm going to do Hebrew 11:6. And without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who seek him. My challenge, or my comment section. I want to hear a story of a time of a person that you have the utmost respect for throughout your life, about anything. Like a
Yeah.
story of what made them.
Yeah, why
You
you
respect
respect
them.
that person. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Alright, well, with that, I hope you guys have a great week.